on Boost Your Business, we're going to discuss how restrooms can be more accessible and more appealing to your customers. We're happy to have John Reed join us here in the studio this time.
Thanks, Mary.
So last time, you and Max talked about clear spaces and fixtures. What else can you share with us so that we can help our viewers bring more customers into their businesses?
Mary, we'll discuss the clear space and fixtures located around the toilet.
Okay, John, today's show is really focused on accessibility in California, but our viewers are nationwide. Do these accessibility requirements apply everywhere, or are we just talking California?
Mary, accessibility requirements can vary state by state. The basic requirements we're discussing today are focused on California, but it's also important to note that even in California, buildings may have different requirements depending on the year they were built. Where the new access requirements apply is in a remodel or a new construction. And these requirements can be a bit different depending on the city or county where your business is located.
Sounds complicated. How are business owners supposed to keep track of all of these different building codes?
Mary, as a professional, it's my job to stay aware of the different codes. But for business owners, they're busy enough. Now don't take this the wrong way. I support business owners who try to save some cash by starting that do-it-yourself improvement project. But in today's world, getting advice on the correct accessibility requirements can make the difference between customers with disabilities writing a negative review, sending a complaint letter, or enjoying their visit to your business and making a point to come back.
That's good advice, John. Let's start with the multiple accommodation restroom.
A multiple accommodation restroom provides one or more stalls. At least one of these toilet stalls must be accessible.
What about the path of travel up to the stall?
A clear path of travel at least 44 inches wide must be provided to accessible toilet stalls. The space immediately in front of the stall door must be at least 48 inches deep if you push the door open and 60 inches if you pull the door open.
What about the stall door? What do we need there?
Well, the stall door must be a self-closing door. The door must have a minimum opening width of 32 inches when located at the end of the stall and a minimum of 34 inches when located at the side. The latch hardware on the stall door must be a flip-over style, sliding, or other similar type that does not require the user to grasp, pinch, or twist their wrist. In addition, a loop or U-shaped handle on both the inside and outside of the door must be placed just below the latch.
We've made our way into the stall. What do we look for next?
The minimum width of an accessible toilet stall is 60 inches. When the toilet stall has an end opening door that faces the toilet and the door swings outward, a minimum of 60 by 48 inch clear space must be provided in the front of the toilet. When the stall door is on the side of the stall and the door swings outward, a minimum of 60 inches wide by 60 inches deep must be provided in front of the toilet. Inside the stall, additional clear space is also required on both sides of the toilet. Mary, having that clear space doesn't substitute for a detailed restroom accessibility inspection by a certified access specialist, but it does give your viewers a good idea about the kind of clear space required in an accessible stall. Now let's talk about the toilet itself. The height of an accessible toilet seat must be between 17 inches and 19 inches measured from the floor to the top of the toilet seat. If the seat is too low, a person may not be able to lift themselves off the toilet seat and back into a wheelchair.
Speaking of toilets, John, do all toilets now have to have those electronic automatic flush devices?
No, they are highly recommended, but the important thing is that the flush controls must be accessible. The flush control must be located on the open floor side of the toilet.
What about technical placement of things like toilet paper and such?
The toilet paper dispenser must be at least 19 inches above the floor. Toilet paper dispensers must be installed under the side grab bar.
John, what about those grab bars in the restrooms? What type of requirements pertain to them?
Grab bars in accessible toilet stalls must be provided on the side wall closest to the toilet and on the rear wall behind the toilet, and mounted with a space of 1.5 inches between the grab bar and the wall.
John, why would the building code be so exact about the 1.5 inches next to a grab bar?
That's a good question, Mary. If that space is too big and someone falls holding on to the grab bar, their arm could slip through next to the wall. That small 1.5-inch space may prevent someone from breaking their arm.
That was a lot of information on that. I'm glad I asked. Now, what about single accommodation restrooms? Do they have the same requirements?
The toilet, grab bars, and toilet paper dispensers have the same requirements. But code changes I talked about earlier have affected the clear space and single accommodation restrooms also. So let's start on the older restrooms. There must be a clear floor space of at least 60 inches in diameter or a T-shaped turning space. Many older restrooms were approved if the wide side of the toilet had clear space at least 28 inches wide if the toilet was next to a fixture, or a minimum of 32 inches wide if the toilet was adjacent to a wall. The older restrooms only required a rectangle clear space of at least 30 inches wide by 48 inches deep in front of the toilet. In newer restrooms, that 30 by 48 inch clear space in front of the toilet has widened to become 60 inches wide by 48 inches deep.
John, that's a lot of great information.
And here's something else your viewers might be interested in: tax credits.
I've got it covered, John. Qualified small business owners who want to make modifications to improve accessibility can apply for the Disabled Access Credit and get up to $5,000 back from our friends at the IRS by filling out Form IRS 8826. John, thank you so much for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome, Mary. I hope I was able to explain how your viewers can increase their business traffic flow with better accessibility.
Well, now I feel I have a better understanding about how to make my restroom more accessible, and I hope you watching do too.
If you have further questions on accessibility, email Disability Access Services at dasinfo@dor.ca.gov or call 916-558-5755.